Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, BECHOROS Chaf Daled. We begin 8 lines from the top. My brisa, we spoke so much about this brisa where there is a machlokes, a dispute between Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, so Rashbag in short, and the Chachamim. You find the newly purchased goat. You bought a goat from a guy, and it's nursing a newborn. Is it hers or not? Rashbag says, yep. She wouldn't be nursing him if it wasn't hers. Okay, so now you confirm that she's already past her first birth. Chachamim disagree. No, perhaps she just adopted her friend's offspring, but she really had never given birth, in which case, the next time there's a birth from this goat, it is presumed, perhaps, that it's her first. So it's a suffix. It turns out that Rav adopted Rashbag's opinion, lahalacha. He paskin like that, despite the fact that we have a brisa which presents a machlokes. And the Chachamim take issue with the Rashbag's opinion that it's presumed to be her baby. And the reason why we adopted Rashbag in this case, the Gemara explained, because in the Mishnah, which we learned yesterday, there is no mention of any opposing view. It's just stated as a sort of unanimous opinion. Rashbag Omer, you buy the baby from the guy, she's nursing, you assume it's hers. Okay, so in fact, where do we have a brisa which contains a machlokes? My brisa, the Sani, we have a brisa as follows: Halakech behema menika min oived kichavim. He purchased an animal who happens to be nursing at the time from a guy. Haba achrav b'chor misafek. The Chachamim are of the position that this isn't necessarily a confirmation that in fact she's a mother and she gave birth. Perhaps she's just looking after her friend's animal, in which case the offspring that follows from this goat is a bechor misafek, has a status of safek bechor, bipnei, because at times you'll have an animal looking after her friend's animal. Bipnei shemerachemes, Rashi says merachemes means oiheves. She'll exhibit love and care and concern, even if she had never given birth. So there's no confirmation at all. A, that she had given birth, and B, that this is her offspring. Rashbag Omer says no. Hadav b'chaskase. We assume it is as it is. Which means that she gave birth and this is her offspring, in which case, next time around, she's a veteran and there's no bechor status to her offspring. Likewise, here comes case number 2. Likewise, he enters his barn, his animal pen, in the darkness of the night. Lots of mazel tovs going on. He encounters a whole flock of animals. We have about 10-15 of them, comprised of some are first-time mothers, mafkirois, lashon of bechor, first-time mothers, v'she'enan mafkirois, giving birth for the second, third time, veteran mothers. All of them are yoldos, okay, all giving birth. But it's nighttime. He can't necessarily discern which baby is what. And the next morning he sees that they're all nursing. Hirshkim gets up, next morning he gets up early, goes out to check his new arrivals, and he encounters the following peculiar scene. He finds amongst the newborns, some are male, some female. The male are teluyos, they're hanging around, they're nursing from the mafkiros, from the veterans, in which case they're not bechor. And unekevis, ironically, the female offspring, which in any case are exempt from bechor, which is specific to male, they are attached to the first-time mothers, teluyos mafkiros. in which case all are exempt. The female because even though they're first-timers, they're female, and the male because they're coming from veteran mothers. He need not concern himself with the possibility that perhaps they swapped. Perhaps these Zecharim are really from the first-timers, and in which case they're Bechorim, and vice versa. There's no concern. He need not speculate Shema B'noshel Zu B'Loitz Zu. Perhaps the son of this one moved over to that one, and vice versa. Okay, so bottom line, we found the machlekes in the Brisa regarding the goat or the sheep nursing this newborn. Chacham say, you never know, maybe she's nursing a friend's animal, in which case she had yet to give birth. In which case the next time around, perhaps it's her first time, it's a bechor, so it's going to be safek bechor. Rashbag says, no way. She wouldn't be doing it if she wasn't yet a mother. Now the question is, to what extent does Rashbag maintain this mode of thinking? Iboilu. When Rashbag says hadavar b'chaskasei, the come Rashbag, the term davar b'chaskasei, it is presumed to be as is, as you see. What did he mean? De'ina merachemes elam ken yoledes. She wouldn't be looking after an offspring if she wasn't yet a mother, in which case it proves that she's already given birth. But does this prove that this is really hers? Maybe motherhood only happens through birth, but the tendency to care and to look after only happens through giving birth. But maybe she's looking after her friend's animal. Okay, but let's say you've confirmed that she has already given birth. Fine. So you know that next time there's a birth, it's not going to be bechor. But what about this specific offspring? Have you confirmed that this is certainly hers? Shall we perhaps be concerned that at this point she's already a mother and she has that tendency and she's looking after her friend's animal, so it's not really hers? Or you can say, no, an animal only looks after her own. She only exhibits love and care to her own. So she's nursing, it's hers. She wouldn't for her neighbors. What's the point of asking this question? Either way, you certainly confirm that this animal has already given birth. She's a veteran, because she wouldn't be caring for the offspring if she wasn't. So what's the difference whether this is hers or not? Says the Gemara, L'milka Allah, there's an issur of shechting mother and offspring on the same day. If he shechts the mother and this particular offspring that's latched onto her on the same day, will he get malchus or not? If you would tell me that an animal is only merachma her own, but if it's not hers, she wouldn't care for it. Well, okay, so now the fact that she's nursing this one indicates that it's hers, and you get malchus for shechting on the same day. But on the other end, if you're going to tell me she wouldn't hesitate to care for her friend's animal as well, then we don't know if it's really hers. You wouldn't get malchus for shechting them on the same day. What do you have to say about this? Tashma, let's take a look at the Mishnah of yesterday. Tashma, Rashbag Omer, a fellow purchased a sheep from a guy who is nursing, who's looking after the baby. Right? They add the word manika, as per the Lashon Now Mishnah. Is it just a random occurrence? No. We don't speculate that perhaps it's her friend's animal. Okay, that's a confirmation that in fact it's hers. Well, Miktani who? Does the Mishnah then say that we're not concerned that this particular offspring is her friend's? No, it's hers. Confirmed? It doesn't say that in the Mishnah. Rather, it says Haya. Haya Ktani. The Mishnah means like this. It only confirms the first part, that she is already a mother. She had already given birth. But who's to say that this is her offspring? We're not concerned that this is her friend's offspring. Haya. That's where Haya comes in. Haya lavad mikar, unless she had already also given birth. So all Rashbag is saying in the Mishnah, that tending to an offspring and nursing the offspring is an indication, a confirmation that she herself had already given birth. That's it. But the second point, that this is hers, that we don't know. Tashmai comes another attempt at it right from the Brisa we brought today. So the Brisa had two parts, right? The first part, he bought the animal from the guy. Rashbag says, leave it as is. And then v'chein, another point to the brisa. He walks into the barn, he sees them all giving birth next morning, right? The male, the female. Tashma nichnas tech edrei. V'raz amafkiris menikois. V'she'ein amafkiris menikois. Everybody's busy giving birth. Everybody's, busy nursing now, okay? There's no need to concern that perhaps there was a swap. Shema b'na shel zu ba'etzel zu. Oy shema b'na shel zu ba'loi etzel zu. So we're not concerned that. Actually, this is this is the Mishnah, the second part of the Mishnah. Okay, second part of the Mishnah, Chagim base. So there's no concern about swappings. Again, he walked into his Eider, he sees everybody menika, everybody nursing. The mafkiras, the first-time mothers, the veterans. And he knows that this is hers and this is hers. And the question is, hold it. How do you know? I know that she wouldn't be tending to an offspring if she wasn't yet a mother, but who says it's her offspring? Am I? According to you, we should be chayshesh dilma rechumi rachem. Maybe she's, showing compassion and looking after her friend's animal. Says the Gemara, guess what? Not in this case. But makaim dida. In a situation where her offspring is in the vicinity, certainly she would not neglect her own for her friends. But makaim dida lo shafkada, she wouldn't abandon her own. U'murachim dida, look after her friends. In this case, certainly, it's hers. But otherwise, you don't know. Tashma, here comes another raya from the brisa which we had earlier today. So he bought the animal from the guy, it's nursing. Chacham say, you never know. Maybe she just adopted her friend's. And Rashbag says, no, it's presumed to be attributed to her. Tashma. And then the brisa continues with the second part of V'chein, V'chulu, which is a similar case to the Mishnah, where he notices a bunch of newborns, and the males are here, the females are there, and the Mishnah says there as well. There's no concern of mix-ups, right? So let's assume my lav reisha dumid seifa. Now let's just realize in the second case, where her offspring is also nearby, she certainly wouldn't overlook her own for her friends. That's been established. So in the second part of the Bryce, when it says we're not concerned about swaps, we mean literally because each one is looking after her own. Okay, so this one that's nursing from this one is her child, and throughout the throughout the rest of the group as well. But what about the first part of the Bryce, where it's only just one sheep that he bought from a guy he's nursing? Chacham say, you never know, maybe she's looking after a child even before she gave birth. Rashbag says, no. Tending to an offspring is a confirmation of birth. But to what extent? So let's assume it's like the second part of the Brisa, where it's confirmed that the offspring that's nursing from her is in fact her child. Right? Because her child is around, she wouldn't neglect her own, right? So let's assume the ratio, the first part of the Brisa, is teaching a similar halacha. Is working with a similar parameter. My lab, ratio to the seifa. Part A of the Brisa is on the same track as part B. Ma seifa v'adedido. Just like section B of the Brisa contains a confirmation. Whoever she's nursing is hers. Af ratio v'adedido. Likewise in the ratio, where it's just one goat nursing a random baby. No, it's not random. It's hers. So that apparently resolves our shaila. But then according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, the goat that's nursing indicates two things. One, confirmation that she has given birth. B, to this one. So as the Gemara who says maybe each part of the Bryce is presenting differently, unconnected. Midiru. How could you prove one from the other? Hai Kadisa, Vai Kadisa. Part A of the Bryce is speaking in terms of confirming that she gave birth in general. And part B, because her child is nearby, then of course there it's different. She's certainly taking care of her own. Vai Kadisa. Umay Bechein. So what's the point of the Bechein, the connector in the Brisa, which sounds like both halachas are in the same, singing the same tune. Aptur the Bechira, regarding the first point, that the first part of the brisa, where it was just one goat nursing, indicates that she had already given birth, so she's parted from Bechor, and likewise in the second part of the brisa. But in terms of identifying, pinpointing that this in fact is her offspring, perhaps that's not so, unless her offspring is known to be nearby, in which case she's certainly looking after it. Amar Rabba bar Barchan Rebechna. So let's just recap. Bottom line: you have a newly purchased goat or a sheep from a guy who happens to have an offspring nearby who is nursing from it. According to Rashbag, it confirms that she's already reached motherhood. Otherwise, she wouldn't be looking after an offspring. According to Chachamim, not necessarily so. Now, according to Rashbag, have we confirmed that this is hers? Well, we're not so sure. Unless we know for a fact that hers is certainly in the area, so she wouldn't be looking after somebody else instead of hers. And then we know this is hers. Amar Rabba, Bar Barchan Rabbi Yechon. Similar halacha. Roch Hazir shekoruch achar roch. So he has a Rachel, a sheep, mother, and this young Chazir, exhibiting signs, unkosher signs, appearing like a Chazir, who's Karuch, who's latched on to the mother, who's nursing from the mother, who's looking after her. Pitura min ha-bechor, v'asa b'achila. So two things. First of all, the mother sheep is now exempt from Bechor, so any subsequent offspring is presumed to be post-Bechora, because she wouldn't be nursing and looking after the Chazir if she wasn't a mother. V'asa b'achila, but you can't consume the Chazir-looking offspring. Then he quotes a pasuk in Hosea, until Mashiach comes and clarifies the halacha. Until Eliyahu comes. Ad yavai v'yirat tzedek lochem, until Eliyahu comes and clarifies whether or not you can eat it. Now, this statement of Rabbi Yechon seems to be a contradiction in terms. On the one hand, patur min ha-bechora, the mother is exempt from Bechora down the road. Why? Because she's nursing. Nursing equals motherhood. Command Rashbag. Now, according to him, we should assume this is her offspring, so it should be mutter to eat. Rashi brings the Mishnah. We have enough hay. Hayotzim min ha-torah-tar. Anything which comes out, which emerges from a kosher source, is tar, despite its confusing presentation. So on the one hand, we're going like Rashbag, but then we follow by saying v'asur b'achil, you can't eat it, because maybe it's not her offspring. K'Rabbanan, that sounds like the Rabbanan speaking. So it's a contradiction in terms. V'su, furthermore, ikar Rabbanan. If part B, prohibiting consumption, is in line with the Rabbanan, because we don't know. Maybe she's just adopting a stranger's a strange chazir. So it's just a matter of verifying the facts. My adyavay v'yirat tzedek lochem. What's the reference to yirat tzedek? It sounds like we're speaking about some halachic ruling that has to be, arrived at. It's not a halachic question. It's a mitzios. It's a factual phenomenon that we have to confirm and clarify. Should have said until you figure out what happened. Is it hers or not? Perhaps we can explain Rabbi Yechon as follows. Misapkala, he's really not sure. It's not a contradiction, he's not sure. Whether we go Rashbag or like the Rabbanon. If that's the case, in Misapkala, so then am I p'tur min ha-bechora? The first part of the statement is problematic. Why would he exempt it from Bechora? We're not sure. Maybe she's not really a mother. V'su, furthermore, Misapkala, does it really have a suffix in terms of how to paskin? Certainly, paskin like Rashbag. V'amar Rabba, Bar Barchan Rabbi Yechon kol makom shesham Rashbag Hussein. Whenever we find Rashbag speaking in the Mishnah, K'mais we paskin like him. Chutz, except for three exceptions: Me'arev, Vatzaydin, Me'achroina. So, what's the question? Of course, we go like him. Lo yadam pshita l'loch Rashbag. You're right. He certainly was following Rashbag's shita. That what? So let's recall we had 2 points in Rashbag. Number one, nursing the offspring indicates motherhood in general. And number two, we had a question which wasn't really resolved yet. She's a mother, in which case the next offspring is certainly not a bechor, but is this her child? Or maybe she's just adopting a stranger. That we're not sure about, and that what he's not sure about either. Pshita lech Rashbag. So that confirms that she's a mother. She's parted from bechor down the road. Miyu, but still Masapka is not sure how far Rashbag takes it. Isavar Rashbag Yoledes Merachemes, does he hold that, once she's arrived at motherhood, she can still adopt somebody else's offspring, so it's not confirmed that it's her, so you can't eat it. Or perhaps she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't look after a stranger's offspring, in which case we have confirmation that this chazir-looking creature is really hers and it's mutar b'achila. So that explains his statement. Ask the Gemara Yehochi, if that's his point of reference, so why did he speak about such a strange phenomenon with chazir and a tle? Yehochi adash midin chazir, instead of speaking about some strange looking creature, which we question whether or not it's hers, l'shmeinan tle. He could have spoken about a very simple case. A sheep giving birth to another sheep. And the question still would apply. Is it hers? In which case, if you shech them both on the same day, you violated Oisev Esbanai or not. Right? The same concept, just in a more homegrown fashion. Lishmin and Tileh. The question is, you get malchus for shechting both mom and the parent offspring on the same day. So why did he sort of choose to, refer to some sort of unconventional situation? The answer is to highlight the point. Chazir strichle. There was a point in mentioning chazir because otherwise you wouldn't have full clarity in terms of the extent. The Yashmin at Tleh, we only spoke about a sheep giving birth to a tleh, hanging around with a tleh. Havamina, I would think, you know what? Intim tzalaima savay leds merachemes. That even if you would, respond by saying, yeah, it's possible that she's looking after her friend's animal. She's a yoledes, right? She's certainly confirmed to have given birth, but maybe this particular one is not hers. Demina, but maybe that's specific to her type. So if she's looking after a young sheep, we can speculate that it's her friends that she's just looking after. But the loymina, let's say, would be a chazir, which is totally a different type. Loy, perhaps there's no chance that she's looking after her friend's animal. Ashmin chazir. That's why he picked chazir. The Gersa the Rachma, because if in fact an animal has a tendency to look after her friends, I feel love minanami kalamema dilma rachma. It would apply even to something which is presenting like a different variety, different species. So that's why he picked this unconventional depiction to address this question in the most broad way. That, even when it's a chazir, there's still room to speculate. Perhaps she's just adopting, looking after it. And this is in line with another statement of Rabbi Yochanan, that in fact we're not sure about how far Rashbag takes the halacha. Boy Achai, we turn to Talmud Beis. Beribi. This question was posed by Achai, the great Achai. Ro'a chazir. Right? Exactly our case. He notices a chazir-looking, animal, shekor chach rachel, nursing from a rachel, from a sheep. What's his status? And the Gemara explains what his question was. Was his question limited to the bechor question? Shall we assume that this sheep is already a mother? The question really is whether we pass on like the Rabbanon that nursing and tending to an offspring isn't a confirmation of motherhood, or do we go like Rashbag that it is a confirmation, in which case the next offspring is number 2, is considered post-Bechorah. If that was his question, it was limited to that, then why do you have to go to the unconventional Chazir, Tiboyle Tleh? Same question could apply to a Tleh, a sheep looking after a young Tleh, a young newborn sheep. Is she considered to have given birth or not? The answer is, he had a double question, very similar to the previous discussion. A twofold question. When an animal is looking after an offspring, is number 1, she presumed to be a mother in general, we're not really sure about that. And la'achila, we'll leave the Rashbag. La'afila, we'll leave the Rashbag. Number 2, regarding the kashrus of the offspring, according to Rashi and Gamliel, as well. Explains the Gemara. And that is why he illustrated in this fashion. Chazir, nursing from a Rachel, to bring out both aspects of this question. The BECHOROS fil Rabbanon, even the Rabbanon who say in general, you have a goat, baby, nursing from the goat mother, and there's no confirmation that she gave birth. Perhaps she's looking after somebody else's. But perhaps that's only when it's a goat from a goat. They're alike, they're similar. So she latches on. But when it's a chazir, being looked after a sheep, perhaps even the Rabbanon would agree, she would never touch the chazir. She would never look after a chazir if it wasn't really hers. The Amri who say in general, merachma, that perhaps an animal can be found to be looking after an offspring, even though she has yet to give birth. Ki merachma damina, perhaps that's only applying to her type, but if it's a different species, she wouldn't do it. If it wasn't hers, in which case it's confirmed that she's a mother. Or you can say no. It can happen. I shall look after something which is different than her. So there's no confirmation. Then in fact she gave birth. And the same question would apply according to Rabbi Shimon Leil as well regarding achila. So Rashbag holds that an animal seen tending after an offspring certainly confirms that she had already given birth. So the first part is confirmed. What about the second point? Is this her child? In which case, can you go eat it, even though it exhibits non-kosher signs because it's sourced from kosher? Because it's certainly the sheep's offspring, la'achila. Even according to Rashbag, you have the question. Intim tzalei sava yoledis merachemes. Because even if we don't really have confirmation how far Rashbag takes it, yeah, it confirms that she's a mother, but maybe she's merachemes, she's looking after her friend's animal. But maybe that's limited to Demina when it's her type. So a sheep can, at times, give birth. So it activates her motherhood tendencies, right? And now she'll start looking after her offspring, but maybe she's looking after her friends. But perhaps that's only Demina when it's her type of creature. The lav min aloi, but if it's not her type, it's like chazir, she wouldn't dare go near that. And the fact that she is indicates that it's hers, and you can eat it. Or you can say, the lav min nami merachma. Just that she'll take an interest in her friend's goat, will take an interest in her friend's chazir. Take it, we leave it on rizah. Okay, so at the end of the day, what do we have? So we have an animal looking after an offspring, nursing, looking after an offspring. According to Shittas Chachamim, there's no confirmation at all that she even gave birth. In which case, the next time there's an offspring from this mother, it could be the first time, it could be a bechor, so it's a safek. And we just stretched it to even if she's looking after a chazir. Right? Maybe it applies there too. There's no confirmation that it's her, that she even gave birth. On the other hand, Rashbag holds, yeah, for sure. Only an animal had already given birth, that's already arrived at motherhood, will be looking after and nursing this offspring. But to say that it's hers? Not so simple. Now, when we know that hers is certainly in the area, then we know that, of course, she wouldn't be overlooking her own to take care of the other one, and then the one that's next to her is hers. But otherwise, we're not sure. We're not sure. And that would apply even to Chazir and all these other... Okay. Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Yosef and Meshulam Aimer, Hashechet as Abchor. So this is the famous Rabbi Yosef and Meshulam, which we referred to yesterday. A fellow would like to shech the bechor. Bechor, got a mum, or unblemished, and he's shechting the Beis Hamikdash, and he's got to get access to the area to do shechita, and it's full of wool, it's full of hair. You're not meant to share the bechor; it's a carbon, right? So what do you do to clear the area? Rabbi Yisrael Shalom Eimer, shechach l'sabchor, oisem mokem b'koifetz. Mekan. So he takes the koifetz, the knife, the big knife, and he pushes around the hair, both directions, to make way for the v'tolish aseir, and he can pluck out some of the hair. Ubelvad, provided that he leaves the hair over there, he leaves it, dangling in the, leaves it in its place. He doesn't remove it. Rashi says, for concern that the onlooker will mistakenly believe that he could share the bechor. So although he's compelled to clear and make access, but he has to leave the material right there until after the shechita. And likewise, if he has to pluck out some of the hair to expose the blemish, to have it inspected and confirmed by the expert, likewise the same system would apply. Okay, here's the second statement of Rav, which we mentioned yesterday, that's how we paskin. That you can actually pluck out some of the hair if it's for the sake of these purposes. The following was posed to Rav Huna. I understand it's permissible by the bechor. Connect the b'yantiv mao. It's yamtiv. You're allowed to do shchita on yamtiv. Is one allowed to pluck out some hair to make room for the knife? So a parallel situation on yamtiv, is it permissible or not? Mao. What are the factors at play? Time of the race of Meshulam is Rabbi Yosef's reason Mishum to kasava toilish lavanu goizes. The reason why he permits by the bechor is because only goizes, true sharing, is asur by bechor. Toilish plucking, hand plucking, is not considered an act of goizes. That's why it's allowed, but that's specific to bechor. B'yomtiv asur, but on yomtiv it's asur, because even plucking is asur, even if it's not the conventional, sharing process. The havali oiked of megdul, ultimately he's pulling something out of its source of life. Oidim, on the other hand, you can say ba'al masavar yisem shulam toilish hanu goizes. Reisa really holds that plucking is a form of goizes. So there's no discount there. Why is it permissible by the bechor? Behind the time of the shor, the reason why it allows by the bechor, because it's not something which he's intending on doing. Rashi explains, he's not really trying to pluck. He's just pulling and pushing, and if it happens, it happens, but it's not his intended consequence. In which case, that formula, that principle, would apply to Yom Tov as well. Yom Tov Doshim Miskaven is also mutter. So which way? Amr Lucy told him, Zilu Shailu Rav Chananel. First of all, check up with Rav Chananel, who was a student of Rav, who will tell you whether Rav adopted Rabbi Yisrael Shalom's opinion. And if he did, then I'll explain to you, we'll go further. Yamar, did he say halacha Rabbi Shalom? If he adopted a shita, then we have to elaborate on it and apply it. If shalahu, then I'll go and clarify your question, and we'll see whether we can apply it to Yom Tov as well. Asu shailu, so they went to ask him. He says, "Yep." Rav, in fact, said, "Allah Rabbi Yisrael Shulam." We pass like him. That's allowed. So he spoke about the bechor. So they came back to Rav Huna. Come to Rav Huna with their question. What about on Yom Tov? He says, "Yep, it's mutter. Connect the Yom Tov mutter. Corresponding Yom Tov, it's mutter." Reason being because it's davashen miskaven. It's unintended, and it's okay. It's marnami. We find likewise, or Chanani bar Shlomo say the Rav. Here we have a clear quote from Rav. Connect the Yom Tov mutter. Correspondingly, on Yom Tov will be mutter. Reason because the davashen miskaven is mutter. Ask the Gemara. Return to the next page. Miyam Rav Hachi. Is that so that Rav allows one to do an act which may bring about a malacha, may result in an unintended consequence, which is a malacha? Umiyam Rav Hachi, V'amar Rav Chia Barashi Mishmei Rav quotes Rav. That's not allowed. Misachraya is the material, plug, the rag that's plugged into the spigot holder of the barrel. Then is the of the barrel with wine or beer. Also, on Yom Tov, you can't fasten it because inevitably, because it's full of liquid, it's going to squeeze out, which is a malacha, schita, libun, cleaning a beged, washing a beged. Now I'll do it on Yom Tov. Also, Yom Tov. Why not? It's unintended. He's trying to adjust the spigot. He's not trying to squeeze out, apparently. One may not engage in an act which will generate even an unintended malacha. Oh, says well, it's so different. Because that's inevitable. Why in that case, I feel Reb Shimon might. Even Reb Shimon, who typically says, Dover she'ein maskaven is mutter, even he would agree it's usher because it's inevitable. It's considered like you're intending for that result. The Abaye and Rav both said, Reb Shimon generally allows unintended acts, would not allow in this case. An expression like try to chop off the head of the chicken and it won't die. Of course it will. It's inevitable. This is what we call psik reishi throughout Shas. It's bound to happen. In which case, it's considered like a direct act, like an intended act, and it's also as opposed to the shuffling around with the hair of the bechor or the animal on Yom Tov. He's trying to make room, and okay, if it gets detached, it's unintended. It's just an indirect, result, and it will be mutter according to Rav. Okay, all the best to you, Natzlach.